This is question 1 on a company you'd want to work for and your values. So I picked Patagonia. I would love to become a member of your team because I strongly believe in the values and mission statement that are upheld by Patagonia. As a frequent customer, I know that your mission is to use business to support environmental sustainability, constantly evolve with a changing market, and invest in the economies and welfare of global communities. So I have very strong values that have been influenced by a variety of factors, but I would say specifically my upbringing and educational experiences. I'm currently in the process of obtaining an undergraduate degree in Global Development Studies at Queen's University. This degree is largely centered around global inequality, power imbalances, economics, and things like that, and I think that it's contributed to the importance of equity as a value that I uphold. So I would say that equity, morality, and cooperation are things that I pride myself in working towards, and I think that Patagonia's initiatives in regard to equitable trade and global cooperation are really important to me. And I also know how important it is to cultivate a global community and be diverse and encourage development. So I think that Patagonia, in working towards making sure that anybody that's been affected on their production chain is affected in a positive way, that they are contributing to foreign communities, they are sustainably making their materials, they are sustainably sourcing their materials and reducing their environmental impact. All of those things are things that I just care a lot about, and I think that I need to work for a company who also shares the same values as myself. My values are a primary motivator for me, and I think that by aligning myself with a company that strives to achieve the same goals and values that I already work towards in my daily life, I think I'm going to be able to maximize my employee engagement because I'm going to be truly invested in creating meaningful projects. I can offer my valuable skills such as collaboration, innovation, teamwork, and I think that just surrounding myself with like-minded individuals is the key to a successful culture and a more productive environment. This is question 2 and 3 promises that I will deliver to a company. My first promise is that I will be an industrious worker. I pride myself in my work ethic and my diligence across all projects that I partake in, and I find it particularly rewarding whenever I know that I put my best effort in, but I also am really receptive to feedback, and I'm always looking to self-improve so that I can come back to the next project with an even better outlook. My second promise is that I can be relied on. I can be trusted with either small or large tasks, but no matter what, I will always get them done and I will do them to the best of my abilities. I'm also very self-aware, so I know if there's a task that may be a little bit too big for me to handle, but I have no problem asking a coworker for help as long as it doesn't negatively impact them and positively affects the company. An example of this would be during my time in student council. There were times whenever my name was the only name on a committee for a very large-scale event, so I either had to delegate tasks or ask for assistance if I needed help, but no matter what, my job was always done on time, and it was done reliably. My third promise is that I will always be working to better myself and better the company. Something that I really believe in and sort of value is a growth mindset. I would say that I'm never really satisfied with my worker behavior, just in the sense that after every opportunity, I'm always trying to see what I can improve on and what I can do better, and I'm also doing the same for the company and the people around me. I have a lot of creative ideas, and I'm always just trying to apply those ideas in order to benefit the people around me. So an example of that would be my school had a website that they were selling apparel on, and I used Google Analytics just because we weren't selling very much stuff. People were having problems with their orders. Things were just not going very well on the site, and I was trying to figure out what happened. So I took it upon myself to download Google Analytics, figure out how to use that, cache all that data, and then I learned how to make a Shopify account. And I ended up redesigning the webpage, opening it up on Shopify, and we now run that webpage through my Shopify account that I designed. So I will just always take it upon myself to learn new skills, to better myself, in order to benefit the rest of the company. This is question 3 on commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So to me, this commitment means that first and foremost, you're acknowledging that everybody has differences, but you're respecting them. You're also acknowledging that some people may face barriers that can make certain situations more difficult, and we're allowing equality of opportunities, that despite these differences and barriers, we all have the same opportunity to succeed. So an experience that I had with this was with my school's alternate programming for cognitive and physical disabilities called School to Community. I volunteered with School to Community, and their program is situated in the corner of the school, so not a lot of people interacted with them. Students were even scared to interact with School to Community students. There was a lot of discrimination and slurs thrown around, and it's because our school didn't foster an inclusive environment. So I was also on student council, and I used that position to introduce a new position called School to Community Liaison. So in that role, you're acting as an advocate, you're talking to administration, school to community teachers, and students in order to figure out what they need to feel included and respected in our community. From that role, we had an R-word campaign, we had classrooms moved so that their learning environment wasn't affected, but they were still able to interact and be integrated with more students. We had inclusive events for people with hearing sensitivities and physical impairments, and I actually introduced a course that was a gym class with half School to Community and half regular programming children to integrate and sort of break down the barriers in between both communities. I think that seeing the treatment of these students really solidified equity and inclusion as a value to me, because no one should be treated differently because they have a disability or their race or their gender. Your differences should not define how people treat you, and everybody deserves to work, live, play in an environment that they feel safe and respected in. And I think that if workplaces have a lack of diversity and a lack of inclusion and a lack of equity, it just fosters a lot of that discrimination that was seen with School to Community students before they were integrated. And I think that we can always value diverse opinions and perspectives, but it's really important that everybody has the right to go to work, go to school, and just enjoy their life where they feel safe, where they feel respected, and where they feel like they're being awarded the same opportunities as others. This is question 5 on constructive feedback. For my student council, I was the director of public relations and marketing, so one of my roles was to oversee a clothing website that we had running. Whenever I took on the role, it was not doing well whatsoever. Like, there was just no engagement and no one was really buying anything off the site, but no one on council knew why. So any of the feedback that we received to date for that was really vague. It wasn't specific, so there was nothing we could actually use to improve on, and a lot of it was just really negative. So it was just mainly destructive criticism. It was really frustrating to know that there was something wrong, but we didn't know where to go from there or how to improve it. So I actually took it upon myself to go out and receive feedback. So I created different surveys, put different polls on various social media forums, had a Dropbox, and then I met one-on-one with different students, parents, customers, just to sort of figure out what we were doing well and what we could have improved on. So these engagements and meetings, they provided a lot of constructive feedback for us, and it gave us tangible concerns that could actually be addressed, as well as what we were doing well and what we should keep the same. So it allowed me to go back to my team with a different insight, and we wouldn't have had that if we didn't go out and seek feedback. So I think it allowed a really great opportunity for improvement, because we used the feedback to remodel our site, keep some things the same, and in turn these changes actually took us out of a deficit, and that site had the most profit and traffic that it has ever seen. I think that the communication model and feedback was really beneficial, because by listening to our customers, 1, we were able to make the necessary changes for growth and development, and 2, we were able to create better connections with customers. I think it also really changed my perspective on feedback, because for my own personal work, I used to have a really difficult time receiving criticism, but because this was somebody else's work that I was trying to fix, I just constantly wanted any and all ideas to sort of improve. So I think it just allowed me to see that whenever someone is giving you constructive feedback or constructive criticism, they are doing it because they want you to succeed and they want you to do better. And a lot of the times you wouldn't have had that insight if they didn't tell you. So it grew my mindset on that and sort of allowed me to be more open in terms of receiving criticism now, which I think has benefited me in all aspects of my work areas. This is question 6, and a time I had to use initiative to overcome an obstacle. In high school, I worked as a campaign manager on a fundraising campaign. It was in collaboration with KGH for pediatric equipment, and we were fundraising throughout the month of December, I believe. About halfway through the campaign, we were not on target with our goal whatsoever. We were way lower than previous years, And every year we just used a standardized fundraising format. Everybody did the same thing. We did the same thing every year. Nothing changed. We just put it on the announcements and put jars in people's classrooms. I didn't think that we were doing enough, and I knew that we weren't doing enough, and I knew that we could do better. I took it upon myself to think about ways to improve our model and our approach in order to gain more donations. So I met with previous fundraise managers. I met with the campaign director at KGH to see if she had any ideas about what works well for other people involved in the campaign. I researched alternative approaches, and I observed my target group of students who were donating to see what they would respond to. So I ended up adjusting our approach, implementing new methods to attempt to increase donations and engagement. So one of those things was, I think motivation was a big factor. Just by seeing the jar there and hearing that it's going to a good cause didn't really do much. So we had a lot of donated gifts that people could enter raffles and win if they donated money. We had fun games involving guessing and candy, and just, I think they needed an extra push and an extra motivation that wasn't just the intrinsic feeling of, oh, I'm doing it for a good cause. So by the end of the campaign, we actually ended up raising more money than any previous year of the campaign, and I don't think that that would have happened if initiative wasn't taken to remodel, restructure, and attempt to go above and beyond in order to maximize donations. And I took the initiative because I truly cared about the cause, I cared about the outcome, and I knew that through determination and creativity that it could greatly impact the campaign's success.